Now she not only wants to put her curlers in, she also wants to stop and get coffee. Like, can't we just stop at the really good place and get coffee and a croissant?
We don't have time. We're already 15 minutes late. I told you to put
already late.
I told you to put the curlers on the car. Let's go. But I can't go into the coffee store with my curlers on. That's not my problem. We can do the drive-through. With the trailer and the horses, I'll send in Johnny to the coffee spot. Johnny doesn't even know what a latte is.
But the same thing happens in business as does on vacations. And welcome to Stacks Over Tax. I'm Sterling Grace, and this is Mark Lewis. And today we're talking about having the opposite gender as a business partner and what you might want to know about planning, about creating strategy, about adding new ideas to your business, and just the basic blueprint of where you're going, the basic roadmap. And how it is that men and women see it differently.
And how bumpy that roadmap might be when you're planning.
Yeah, for sure. So I've had the good privilege of working most of my career with all men. And I really realized when I've done volunteer projects how radically different they are about planning. And it's specifically around like they have a mission, they know where they're going. Even if it isn't going well, that's one of the funnier things. Like sometimes it isn't going well. And as a woman, I'm super inclined to just be like, well, then let's just stop and do this other thing. And that is not workable. So Mark, I'll let you talk about the plan, the whole plan. We don't ever hear about the whole plan. We just hear about a piece of the plan. So, but yes, tell us about the whole plan.
It is funny what you just said there, where you're like, oh, if things aren't going so well, well, just do this other thing. It's one of the, in some of the trainings that we got, Sterling and I, over 20 years ago, one of the equal and opposite gender things you must never say. So if a man is on a task and he's focused, but it's just not working, and he's not able to move through it, and he's like, I'm so frustrated, and he turns into kind of this tigery bear. And what does the woman say in order to help both? She's getting upset because I got this tiger in the house with this bear. What does the woman do to say to him to try to calm things down?
Try it this way.
Well, almost. That's actually not too bad. That would be like, what? Okay. But what we find is that the feminine will say, well, that's okay, dear. Do something else in the meantime. You're like, no, only this, focus. This is what I must do. And then, we suffer until we figure it out. That's what men do. The opposite is also true when women are overwhelmed and they're like, I have so many plates in the air and I just don't know what to do. And there's just so many things. And then what do men say to try to calm that down? Because men don't want women overwhelmed, because that's not good. Men will say, sweetheart, just focus on one thing at a time. What?
Yeah.
It's the same. Please don't do this to your opposing partner.
No, but it is really cute. Like if you ask a man what he's doing, he'll tell you the one thing he's doing. And it's so comical as a woman. Like if I ask Mark, what are you doing on Sunday? He'll say, washing laundry. I have never in my life been washing laundry as the activity. It is the thing I'm happy to be doing while I'm doing 800 other things, but it is not a sole activity. Like you would think he has a washing machine in the middle of the living room and he's sitting and watching it. It's hysterical as an idea. So, but yeah. Men have time they wash laundry. It's hysterical. Yeah. Women do not have that, really. They do 850 other things while they wash laundry. So.
Yeah, I literally asked my love today right before lunch. I was like, oh, what are you doing? She's like, I'm cooking you lunch. I talked to my daughter. I was wearing my nails. I was washing my hair. I'm like, right, that's correct. All these things are happening right now. So we're talking about plans. And really, there's no issue with any of the masculine or feminine energies, how they do what they do. But here, we do sort of have to lock in a gender because of how men and women's brains are biologically, neurologically different. There's a big divide between men's hemispheres called the corpus callosum. You've probably heard of it. Women have it as well, but its size is based on the testosterone generally in the body. So men have more than 10x the testosterone that women have. So we have a huge divide that cuts really billions of interhemispheric connections away so that we don't have some of the gifts of perceiving the planet and the energy of living that women do. And vice versa, men have some gifts that women can't possibly do without a great deal of effort. So when we come to building plans together, men and women both get very excited about ideas and go, well, let's brainstorm together. And let's come up with an idea and an execution and a plan, even if it was something as simple as, I know we're talking about business, but let's say we wanted to go on vacation. Okay, well, we're going to get the RV and the women and a woman and a man come together as partners, and they get into intense focus around building a plan, and ideas are thrown out, and nothing's really censored. It's like, well, what about this? Well, that's a good idea, but what if we did it this way? Oh, that's a good idea. Well, then how do we do this? And it's a really beautiful, intimate can be way of communicating fast. At a very effective way. And at some point after a certain period of time, whether it's 10 minutes or maybe even a few hours, a plan starts taking shape. And once the shape of the plan starts being taken, and from not just a little section, but from end to end, once the end of the plan really comes into fruition and there's a general agreement, there's usually some kind of a break in the brainstorm. Now, this could happen in very different ways, but one way it's like, oh, we have to go pick up the kids. Let's pick this up later. For a woman, she's just had this near orgasmic experience with her partner going, God, I had such great communication with him. He was really open and telling me how he felt and what he wanted. And we were going back and forth. It was so great. And the man, too, was like, oh, this was so great. She was really a partner. She really respected my ideas and I respected hers. And we came up with things really, really fast. There was no fluff. It was just great. And a woman will go away and feel like, I can't wait until we continue to build our brainstorm idea and flesh it out more. But a man won't think that. He'll think, wow, we really have a great plan now. I'll fill in the rest of the results and the rest of the plan because I'm the man. I'll do that. And it's bizarre and it's unfair to women. It truly is that men do this. Now, why we do it is because our brains are wired to solve problems.
If you're loving what you're learning today, make sure you click the subscribe button below and ring the bell so that you get all the notifications when we release new videos.
And while we go away, there's still lots of gaps in the plan. We might be able to go on from end to end, but there's still places where like, I don't know how to solve that. Well, let me think about that. And I'm driving to pick up the kids. Oh, I know how to solve it. I'll solve it that way. Oh, but then there's this thing over here. How do we get the wheel to the RV and then get the gas when we go from Tempe to Tucson? And how do we get over there? Get to the KOA and then we go to the Hilton. And how do we get to the ferry? And by the time he's back home or the time, whatever that is, he's solved all the problems. And his brain's like, oh, such a great plan. And he comes home and he's like, sweetie, I got the kids. Listen, I'm so happy that we talked about this plan. I'm so excited. This is going to be a great vacation. I love this so much. And she's like, yeah, this is going to be great. It's going to be so good. And he takes that in his brain as, yeah, oh, she agrees with all the things that I've solved in my head without telling her. Am I sort of on track, Sterling,
Yes.
so far?
Yeah, For sure. Yeah. Because there's no discussion about all the things that you have worked out in your head because men are not terribly inclined to give verbal information or written information. I guess that's also fair. And so in her mind, she's thinking about the fact, I know, because I know where every good bookstore is in all of Southern California. So if we're going to San Diego, I know the two bookstores I want to stop at between here in Los Angeles and San Diego. Now, I don't know that the plan has already actually been cemented and that there's that my bookstores are not even in the plan because I didn't mention them because obviously we were just brainstorming, right? So there was plenty of time to keep talking about it. So the morning,
and we don't know about the bookstores. We're going to talk about those in a second, because why would we? Bookstores? We're going to San Diego. Why do we need bookstores? What are we going to a reading convention?
So, yeah, right. I love books. I would just own a library, if possible. So, but yeah, so I'm not going to think to tell Mark about the two bookstores. I'm going to know that there was plenty of room. We were having such a good time talking. There's going to be plenty of room to talk about those bookstores later on. Why would I bring them up? It's no big deal. They're not even going to be 20 minutes of stuff. I know exactly what I want to look at when I go there. So it's going to be like 20 minutes. It's not even a big issue. It's only 20 minutes. So then the morning comes.
Well, before then, okay. Yes to all of that. And so in his mind, plan ready to go. In her mind, the plan's being built. He goes into what's called energy creation mode, generation mode, because for any man to execute a plan, he has to know that he has the resources, the power, the fuel, the whatever he has to be able to make it happen, even if it's just personally. And so they were just having this beautiful communication. And then all of a sudden he goes off into his shed for a few days every night. And she's like, what's happening here? And he's off in his shed, or he's in his room in his office, and he's thinking about all the things. What am I going to do? How am I going to figure this out? And I mean, of course he could have just asked her, but this is what men do. We're thinking about how do we get the resources and worrying and how to find it. And then eventually, if it's going to work, he'll figure it out. And then magically come back out going, oh, it's going to be great. Yeah, so sorry. Yeah, it's going to be good. Now we're kind of getting to the day before, and she's thinking, when are we going to talk about the actual plan? And he goes, oh, no, it's all worked out. We're going to leave. Like I said, that's how you know this is happening. You'll hear him say something like, well, like I said. When did you say that we were leaving at 5 a.m. on Saturday? When did you say that when did this trailer show up? There's a 25-foot trailer in our driveway. Oh yeah, I told you. When did that happen? And there's horses now. Oh yeah, we're towing horses. Wait, what are we doing with the horses? Oh, I thought you wanted to go riding. Well, that was an idea. Yeah, I want to make sure you go riding. Well, and then she goes, well, how are we going to deal with the horses when we go to the bookstore? Wait, what bookstore are we stopping? Why were we stopping at bookstores? Well, I wanted to stop at bookstores. Why didn't you say that earlier? Well, I thought we'd talk about it more. But we have a plan. Well, I didn't think we had a plan. I thought we were going to make a plan. Well, I thought we did make a plan. Well, we sort of. And this, folks, is where the arguments begin. And this is where the beginning of the hatred of the whole thing begins. And if it can be navigated, and as men, if we can go, Britney Spears, oops, I did it again. I didn't tell her the whole plan. And if you can stop for a second, take the ego to the side and go, oh yeah, I didn't tell her. And if you, the woman, can be like, this is what he does. This is part of the process. It's nothing personal. As long as we can sit down and just do another brainstorm session with whatever resources he's brought already. There's horses and a trailer, and okay, we're getting up at 5 a.m. Then we can get back into focus, back into dialogue, back into brainstorming, and then figure the rest out. Then that's good. If it doesn't work that way, then there's the upset feelings. And then there's the man.
If he knew me, he would obviously know that bookstores are important to me and that we would be stopping to see the bookstores because that is everything I'm about. Like if you knew me, you would know there's always a book. There's literally a book.
Yeah, but Sterling, it wouldn't be if he knew me. It would be if he loved me.
He loved me. He would know about the bookstores. So
that's right.
The imaginary, like he had no idea they were on the way, bookstores. But if he loved me and respected me and cared for me, he would have thought about my bookstores. So,
And there's a lot of upset to be had since he obviously didn't love her.
Right. Obviously. Right. He only got horses. So.
Yeah, horses. For what? Because he had a plan. He figured it out. So if there isn't, or even if there is, that final renegotiation, everything gets worked out, 5 a.m, everybody wakes up and he's go, 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 go. Like it was getting away from a tornado to get in the launch position and get out on time. He's got this thing programmed down to every 15 minutes.
But now they're going on vacation. She wants to like do her hair and put in curlers and like be fabulous. And he's got a like 5:15 launch time that she, again, probably doesn't know about. So it's just very comical when you don't know about how men relate to plans and how women relate to the enjoyment and pleasure of the moment, right? And adding to, right? Now she not only wants to like put her curlers in, she also wants to stop and get coffee. Like, can't we just stop at the really good place and get coffee and a croissant? So
we don't have time. We're already 15 minutes late. I told you to put
already late.
I told you to put the curlers on the car. Let's go.
Exactly. So,
but I can't go into the coffee store with my curlers on. That's not my problem. We can do the drive-through with the trailer and the horses. I'll send in Johnny to the coffee spot.
Yeah,
Johnny doesn't even know what a latte is.
Right. But the same thing happens in business as does on vacations. Like the same exact thing happens in businesses. As
I do it all the time. I'm always thinking up plans, and then I shouldn't just shame myself about that. I'm pretty good about it now, but that's because I know this distinction, and I would do it every time if I didn't.
Right.
And what happens is along the way, and this is where some of the magic of the feminine, the female partner, shows up. Because even if everything was great and there's a plan, there's these things we distinguish. They're called fruit stands. Tell them what fruit stands are all about and why they're necessary.
Well, fruit stands are usually something that is just delights her. And she will think that they're a fun idea in the middle of a plan. So, or something that she gets really excited about in the middle of a plan. So, a long time ago when we took road trips, I would love to stop at all the fruit stands. And you wouldn't know where they were going to be. You wouldn't even know if there were going to be some. But then you would see one and desperately want to stop. And because there might be something fantastic there. Like they might have pecans. I love pecans, right? Especially if they're fresh pecans. They might have pecans at that fruit stand. And so I want to stop and see if they have pecans. But we might not be even leaving with anything. And all my partner would be mad about is that we were so off time. And they weren't necessary. They weren't part of the planning to start with. They weren't necessary. They're not on mission at all, which is get to San Diego. And he thought I was being really disrespectful. Right. So, so the fruit stands, but then I would get to San Diego and I would just kind of be bummed out because I'm just so back on, the 5 thinking about whether or not there were pecans at the fruit stand that I didn't get to stop at. So, yeah.
Yeah. In business, how would you classify a fruit stand? Give us an example.
Oh, we had an offer this week about a collaboration, and I was all excited about the collaboration. I didn't read any of the details about it. I just knew something about the other business, and so I sent the email to Mark with a message that just said, "Yay, these people want to collaborate with us." And then he started reading all the details, and he was like, "What do they want to do?" And I'm like, "Oh, I don't know exactly. I just got all excited." So I have no idea what they actually wanted. Now that after I reread the message, I'm like, clearly I just made up a decision.
I was like, this is not where we want to get off the freeway. I don't think. Maybe I'm reading it wrong, but don't know. Because remember, again, the masculine is a part of protecting. It's a part of providence. It's a part of, obviously providing, but also protecting. And so sometimes if you're in Southern California and you're going down the 10 freeway in South Central, you're like, oh, look, there's a fruit stand. Let's get off at let's get off just head off right below the crypto.com center, and there's this fruit stand down there. It's like, yes, there's a fruit stand and we'll be killed.
Right. The worst is that the flower market in LA is in the most awful place. So as a woman, I've never been to the flower market because there's no opportunity for me to go down there and not get bodily injured at the flower market. So sucks. Yeah. I don't know who was thinking that through when they put it where they put it.
So and there's so much, and we're going to talk about more of this in other podcasts about veto power, and where it's like, well, who's in charge of security? Well, who's in charge of expanding the business? Which is what she did. She's like, oh, here's a new opportunity, and I'm like, that's a fruit stand, and I'm not sure that's really for us, but it could be. But let me look it up on ChatGPT. So it's negotiating the plan as it goes, and that's not that unusual, but understanding that, again, we say this is our maxim: the other gender, the other feminine or masculine, the opposite energy, is going to do the opposite thing, going to want to see it in the opposite way, is going to want a different result for a different reason. And when you can manage and understand that, oh, I shouldn't get upset that she wants to go do this thing. She's trying to expand, which is part of her job. And my job is to protect also. And great. As long as we know that, nobody gets mad. If you don't know that, then you get kind of hung up. And one of the things that's frustrating for the masculine is this thing that in this world, we call on track.
We're never on track. I'm always in trouble for not being on track. So
on track, if you don't know, ladies, or those who are in the feminine energy, on track means we're in accordance with my plan. And we left at 5:15 and there was no Starbucks. We couldn't figure that out. We're on our way. We're going to get to San Diego on time. On track. That means I'm on track. And you'll find the man relaxes when he's on track. And then all of a sudden, he's a nice person. He's so nice. And then he's back in that loving place. Now, meanwhile, everybody else is mad because he's been trying to push everybody to get on track. The problem with being on track as a result is that you do miss good fruit stands, you do miss opportunities to expand your experience, and you do miss basically the opportunity to have your female or feminine partner be feminine. Because you can never have a feminine partner if you're on track.
Generally speaking, no. So you will get to San Diego with an aggravated man with no coffee and no pecans and not delighted. Delighted is the word, because that's something that women bring that men don't really have a capacity. The masculine doesn't have the capacity to generate delight.
No.
Delight is a completely feminine quality and a superpower if you know how to use it. So, and it works really well. And if you loved everything you heard here today and want more, make sure you click the subscribe button below and ring that bell, hit our like button, and then check out the next video.